Hello there, everyone. My name is Lisa. This is Heart of Inspiration, and here at this channel, we help you lead a whole and healed, peaceful, and prosperous life. Well, tonight, whenever you're watching this, we are going to be talking about the full moon in Aries. It's about to be full moon time again, y'all, and I wanted to bring this to you just about a little bit over a week ahead of time. It happens on October the 13th. So this is your first time here. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I so very much appreciate it. And if you find something that you like and that resonates with you, please do consider hitting that like and that subscribe button. And don't forget to turn the bell on. Hit that bell so you get notifications about every time I go live or I upload new content. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going to get into this. We're going to say hello to some people first. Hey, Dawn. We're going to put up the chart here. I want to just kind of prep you a little bit. My notes. Here are my notes. I want to prep you guys a little bit for what we can come to expect, or what we should be looking at, or what we should be focusing on as we come into the full moon in Aries. Now, I titled this video, The Fight for Greatness. The Fight for Greatness. And that's because there's a lot of oppositional energies rolling around here that I can tell are going to really stretch us. This is the full moon in Libra season. And we know now that Libra is a cardinal air sign. And what does that mean? Air signs typically deal with things like intellect, thought processes, how we speak about each other, ideations about ourselves and each other. Libra is the first zodiac sign, for those of you that may not know, that deals with external, right? How we deal with the outside world. Libra is traditionally is the seventh house. This deals with relationships, marriage, contracts, business partners, equality, sharing, and our interpersonal style. Okay, that's what Libra is dealing with. Libra also deals with balance, right? The sign for Libra, when you typically see it, is what? It's the scales, it's justice, right? So that's what Libra season is about. It's about being in balance and in justice and making sure our relationships balance out, that we're getting out of it what we're putting into it. Making sure that as we move forward, that we have these relationships that are secure enough that they begin to transcend and help us through career. It has a lot to do with the first portion of spirituality. So relationships don't have to just be human relationships. We also, from my perspective, it has also a lot to do with spiritual relationships. What is our relationship with spirit? Are we putting enough energy into and sowing into our spiritual life that we're getting it out, right? That we're getting out what we should be. So it's a lot to do with all of that, right? Business, especially, and especially with some of the other planetary aspects, it's got a lot to do with that. Now, for those of you, hello Jeanette, hello Janelle, hey Rio, hello Sagittarius, hello Jeanette T. For a lot of you, some of you may or may not know what a full moon is. A full moon is when the sun is in opposition to the moon, when it is directly opposing the moon. And oppositions in astrology give us an opportunity to really take a good hard look at some things. It does make us a little uncomfortable. It's an opposing view. So when we have had a current view on something, we may hold a view on something. So I might have a view that, I don't know, that the economy in my local area is getting much better. And you may have an opposing view that says, I don't think that it's getting much better because of X, Y, and Z. And we both have some factual reasons as to why we believe what we believe, but it's opposing view. And if you're willing to listen to an opposing view about something, you may just learn something. If you're open to it, it opens your eyes to looking at a situation or a concept in a different manner. So Oppositions are good, right? I don't feel there's any real bad aspect in astrology. So oppositions, I feel, are a good opportunity for us to look at and take a good hard look at ourselves in certain areas. Um, Also, full moons are typically, you hear people say that they're all about manifestation, releasing, that sort of thing, bringing into fullness. The new moon is what we begin to look at. I apologize, guys. I'm still fighting a cold, which is why I was on here so late. Um, New moons, we begin when the moon and the sun are conjunct in the same exact spot. Um, and we're not really able to see emotionally. We look logically at things. And by the time the full moon comes around, well, now our emotions about a thing are at their height. And so it's really time to say, oh my gosh, what do I need to release? All right. So let's get into what we're supposed to be getting into at this point. And I'm going to bring up the chart. Here we go, guys. All right, that there is the astrological chart. Now, you know how we do. We start off with the sun and the moon. So I'm going to move my notes over, and I'm going to pick up my little writing pad, my digital writing pad, and here we go. Now, hello, wake up, digital writing pad. Here we go. All right. So let's start with red, okay? Because we're going to start highlighting some of the oppositions. Here we go. Here's the sun right here. Oh, nope. Stop. Do a pencil. Here we go. Here's the sun. Here's the moon. On October 13th, they are going to be direct opposite at 20 degrees in their respective signs. The sun will be in Libra, as it still is Libra season. And then the moon, guys, is over here, sitting over here in Aries. Now, you know, as we look at these transits, especially these lunar transits, when I take this snapshot in time, well, if the moon, which rules our emotions, is in Aries, what do we know about Aries? Like as a sign, the characteristics of Aries. The characteristics of Aries, first of all, it's all about an Aries, right? Aries being the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about them right there. Fire sign, very passionate. And I'm not saying selfish. I'm just saying they're kind of self-centered in a way. Like, you know, in a lot of ways, all three of the fire signs are self-centered in some sort of way. They're very passionate about themselves in some sort of a way. Some of them are a little bit less than others and, you know, whatnot. But Aries, when you think of an Aries, and I have an Aries moon, so I will say for those of us that have Aries moons, and this is an Aries full moon, oh boy. If you know anybody with an Aries moon, I would suggest on the 13th or a little bit before and probably a little bit after, I would tread carefully because our emotions are going to be like incendiary, okay? Can go up in flame immediately, okay? So we're going to have some very strong emotions. And what are we going to have strong emotions about, everybody? We're going to have strong emotions about balance. About balance. We're going to have strong emotions about, are you serving me? Are you helping me grow? Are you bringing justice to my life? Are you enhancing my life? Is this a good business partnership truly? Okay. Is this a good relationship truly? Is it truly feeding me? We're going to be looking at all that. And we're going to have some very strong feelings about it that are finally going to be able to come up, and those that need to stay, and those that need to be released. I would also say, when I look at the rest of what's happening here, that we are also going to have some really, really super strong emotions surrounding our spirituality, surrounding our spiritual walk, our spiritual beliefs, and we're going to be highly motivated emotionally to bring them into balance. Highly motivated to do that. Because, you know, guys, I look at everything from a very spiritual standpoint. Other people look at things from different aspects. I look at everything from a very spiritual, what is your relationship, right? As we're growing to lead that whole and healed, peaceful, and prosperous life, I look at it in that fashion. Very much so. So don't be surprised if you're taking a really hard look at, am I balanced in every area of my life, including spiritually and emotionally? Am I at the point, as we're coming up to this full moon, am I at the point that I thought I would be at? Am I at the point spiritually that I thought I would be at? Am I at the point in my walk, in my relationship with spirit, with God, with the ultimate power? And I can't see the chat, so I'm going to put my phone over here. Just bear with me one quick second as I bring this up. Are we at the point that we really said that we were going to be, that we wanted to be, that we should be at? Are we at that point? Can we honestly say we are? And if we cannot, we're going to seek that balance, and we're going to seek it hardcore. And I'll tell you the other reason why. Because as the moon over the next few days comes into position into the full moon, it is going to pass Chiron. Now, Chiron is an asteroid. It's a close asteroid. And it's one that is about ego, where we've been wounded, where we've been betrayed. It's that really soft underbelly of our ego. And as the moon passes through, and Chiron is chilling, okay, in Aries. Chiron ain't moving too terribly much. And matter of fact, Chiron is in retrograde in Aries. So let's look at that too. So who we are in our very solar plexus chakra and our sacral chakra, who we are at the very basis, and where we've been hurt, where we've been healed, maybe where we haven't been healed, maybe there's areas that need a little bit more healing and whatnot, all that emotionally is going to pop up. It's coming up. Whether you like it or not, it's coming up. And what is it doing? This moon is giving us the opportunity to get the healing, get the balance, get the victory, move to greatness in those areas. It's giving us the ability to move into victory in those areas. If there's been areas of your life, relationships in your life that you've tried to get out of, you've tried to get rid of that toxic relationship, you've tried to move past it because they hurt you over and over and over and over and over again. And these people are so tied to you on an intimate level that it feels like, God dang it, I just can't get out. I'm trapped. Then I'm going to encourage you to take this opportunity to decide to say no more. You do not get to influence me this much. You do not get to harm me this much. Not only just people, but how about our interpersonal relationship with ourselves? How about that? How about the ideas and how we viewed ourselves at a very basic level, that actually we've probably incurred injury to our own ego, to our own self-worth and self-confidence. This is going to bubble all that up and say, hey, it's time to release it. Because we can't, unless we can release it, we can't truly find and ascend to our greatness. Unless we can finally identify it and release it, we cannot ascend, we cannot truly get to our greatness. Now, I'm not saying that the initial release this month is going to be the be all end all, because it tends to be a process. There could be a really big boom, right, release. And I think we're going to have some other energies made available to us from spirit that's going to allow us to help in those areas. But this is really personal. This is personal on an emotional level. And if you can then grow to the point where your personal, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, you've been able to heal to a point that you really fall in love with oneself, and that the deepest things that maybe you didn't want to look at before, you're finally able to look at them objectively and release them at a very intimate level, deep level. If you can get to that point, then what you project out, Libra, what you project out then is a balanced person, right? Then you become balanced, you become full of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-knowing, self-love, self-partnering, and then you attract people to you that are not going to be a detriment to that, but be an assistance to it. Okay? Now, remember, Libra is about relationships. The most important relationship is with yourself. But when you have a person who gives off, exudes this confidence and this, balance and knowing themselves, you begin to attract in people that are balanced. You begin to attract in people that are really good for you on every level. Business and the like, all of that becomes on par, and it becomes just a lot easier, right? And it's easier to kind of move people in and out. They're like, you know what, you're cool, I dig you, but we just can't rock like that. And it's okay. It's okay. We can't rock like that, and it's all right. Okay? So there's some energies that's going to help us. Also, it makes it much easier to move into your greater purpose and really take a hold of and manifest the big dreams and the great life, right? The greatness. When you have the ability to, when you have finally exuded this, when you're balanced, when you're self-partnered, because then you internalize those beliefs, and what comes out of your mouth is energetically on par with and at the same frequency with the life you've chosen. Now, what's going to help us in this? We're going to go over here to Jupiter. Let's go here. So, Jupiter right here, you'll notice, you see these two blue lines? Jupiter is sextiling the sun, and it's trining the moon. This is fabulous. Because remember, Jupiter is about expansion. Jupiter is about let's grow, let's be bigger, let's do great things. Jupiter's at 20 degrees, so this is an exact sextile and an exact trine. Not just within a few degrees on either side where you get the energy and it's okay. This is exact. So this is powerful. This is powerful. This means that both for the sun and the moon, for what you can see with your spirit, your physical eyes, and what you can see with your spiritual eyes, your emotion, your heart chakra, you are going to feel and be empowered to expand yourself beyond that which you thought you could do. In other words, understanding that you do not necessarily need these people or these relationships that are bringing you down and being a detriment and not an evolution and an exaltation. You are finally able to say, you know what, I feel good, I could do this, and let it go. And really expand who you are with the level of independent thought and emotion that is necessary to catapult you forward. Okay? So I love those aspects right there. All right. Now, what else is going to help us identify what we need to bring out? Let us talk about Mercury first, right here in Scorpio. Mercury is moving its tail straight through Scorpio. It's going to be there pretty much all of October. It's going to go into retrograde soon. Don't fear. We'll talk about that. Mercury right now, Mercury is sextiling Saturn over here. Okay. In Capricorn, while it is in Scorpio. Scorpio is those deep things, man, right? Deep. Deep, 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 deep. Stuff we like to hide, stuff we don't like to talk about, stuff we just would prefer to let go. So I got to get on my notes here, guys. I always look at my notes. So Scorpio is about intimacy, shared finances, inheritances, assets, joint property ventures, joint goals, partners, resources. So Mercury sextiling Saturn in Capricorn, where Capricorn is all about the career, long-term goals and stuff. That coupled with everything else has been able to help us see it deeply on a very deep level. Very deep level. Who's really going to help us in our long-term goals? You've got Jupiter saying expand, 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 and Mercury saying, "Hey, let me talk to you for a second. Psst, psst, psst. Let me spill a little tea. Let me give you a little insight. Let me share a little few secrets. This person really ain't got your best interest at heart, and they might be pretending like they got some money that they could put in on this, business venture, but they ain't got it. Or, you know what? That one over there is much more stable. Long term, this is somebody you can work with. So listen to your intuition, y'all. All this stuff gets revealed. Scorpio, Pluto is about transformation. So, and that rules Scorpio. Scorpio is a transformative water sign. Even though it's intense, and even though it's fixed on changing. So this is showing you what whomever new might be coming around or whoever might be transforming. So we're going to get some help. We're going to get some help here. Okay? Also, Mercury is also at the same time, it's trining Neptune in its home of Pisces, and I believe Neptune is still in retrograde. So now we've got one water sign talking, trining Neptune, the dreaminess, right? Remember, this is all about expansion and dreams. The dreaminess and the deep spirituality. We've got a couple of planets that like to talk a lot, that are communicating really well with this trine. They're in agreement. So it's going to be in agreement. The information you're going to be hearing is going to be in agreement with what you are deeply on a spiritual level and what the higher creator God is trying to say. It's going to all add up. Hey, Nikki. It's going to all add up. Okay? Now, let's continue to talk about, we're not going to talk about the Lilith because that gets a little cray-cray. Now, let's talk about Venus. Venus is chilling over here in Scorpio as well. The love planet. It's not really aspecting Mercury. It's a little bit too far away. However, it is the only aspect right now that Venus has is with Uranus, which is in retrograde in Taurus, and it is opposing it. What is this forcing you to do? Uranus is about sudden change. Uranus is about, we got to change real quick about what's going on internally. Things that are really, 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 really near and dear to us in our Taurian house: money, work, income. If you notice, a lot of this has a lot to do with our money, our career, our business. This has a lot less to do with our interpersonal relationships as far as romance is concerned, unless the romantic relationships are interfering with our monetary gain, advancement, that sort of thing. If your boo thing is interfering with getting your bag, you might want to switch things up. Are you hearing me? Allow me to repeat it. If your boo thing or your situationship or whatever the case is interfering with your getting your bag, you may just want to switch this up. You don't have to, but I have a feeling with Uranus, let me go over here, you are really not going to have a choice. Because when Uranus comes around and needs to change things, this is the energy of God saying, listen, I done gave you 50 million chances to change this up, and now we can no longer wait. So now I'm going to have to remove it. You know, try to do it the gentle way, try to do it the nice way, try to do it. But now for your own good, I got to take the toy away from you before you hurt yourself permanently. God's giving you the power to do it with the other planets that we've talked about, with that energy. This is the time frame. I'm not saying the planets control us, you guys. I am saying the energy is here, ripe, and able. It's available for you to assist you in this. Okay? So sudden change is coming. For a lot of us, sudden change is going to come in that relationship area. Simply because, and it could be contracts as well, business as well. So any relationship that is interfering, where there might be some darkness, there might be some things you didn't know about, Venus is spilling some more tea, some more secrets is getting put out. You can run, but you can't hide. It's coming out. We'll see this in an even greater way on a global scale, on a governmental scale, and things like that. But I'm also going to just talk about like individually, but on a global scale, or especially here in the United States, we're going to see a lot more secrets come out. And I am going to go out on a slight limb here and say we're probably going to see secrets come out about some, and we already are, if we're paying attention, on some of people's most beloved political and entertainment figures. A lot more secrets are going to come out because they have to. And this to me is, and I've heard other people say this as well, but this is really the beginning of a lot of shaking. And a lot of the ideas and ideals and perceptions and beliefs that we have held, we're going to be faced with some of the realities behind the scenes. And we're either going to choose to believe finally what is brought out that has been put in the dark for so long. And it's going to be shaking. It's going to be earth shaking for us. We're either going to decide to do that and then take it and move forward in truth and light, No matter if we really, really didn't want to believe this about some of our beloved figures, or we're just going to decide to stick our heads in the sand and not believe it. But that's, hey, Virgo 1981. But that's another discussion, probably for Patreon for another day. Anyway, so that's where Mercury is. Now, some of the other things I want to talk about here that really kind of bolster this collective message I have surrounding this full moon. Saturn is squaring both the moon and the sun. Squares are calls to action. So remember, I started this all off with, we are being challenged to shake it up, release it, let things go on a very foundational level. We're being challenged to do so. So Saturn being, the ruler of foundations and the like, is just saying, yeah, this is a call to action. You've held on to these people, these thoughts, these ideas. You've held on to this foundation long enough. It's time to let it go. It's time to release it. It's time to move forward. Because if we don't and rebuild the foundation and build the foundation on truth instead of fantasy, matrix lies, if you will, whatever you want to call it, and build it on spiritual truth rather than what we see temporarily, we're not going to be able to weather the upcoming storm. Okay? So it's asking you on a foundational level, change up so you can, right? This is the challenge for greatness. To be great. The greats typically in any area, they talk about people that are really super rich. What happens to people that are really super rich? Some of these people file bankruptcy 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Some people have like 10 failed companies before they get the one that succeeds in a mighty way. But what did they do? They continued and they continued and they continued and they stayed consistent and they kept on going. This is not about stopping and saying, I cannot be successful. This is your challenging moment to say, man, this mess ain't been working for me. I got to change so I can move on. I got to change so I can be great. Okay, this is your challenge, right? This is your challenge. Pluto now over here. Remember I said Jupiter was an exact sextile and trine to the sun, trine to the moon. Pluto is an exact square to both. Saturn is a looser square. It's more kind of outside it, right? On the very edge. Pluto is an exact one. And Pluto is all about what? People in unison. Transformation. Change. So the call to action and the call to change is strong. Undeniable. And probably for a lot of us, pretty darn uncomfortable. But, beloved, it's necessary in order to achieve greatness. There may be a lot of people in your life that have been up until this point pillars. And there might be some new pillars and some old pillars, but they're pillars nonetheless. And you're just now realizing this ain't working. It ain't helping. It ain't growing. It's not allowing me to be great. You might be in a job that's not allowing you to be great when you really want this career. So this time is going to show you, hey, look, this is where maybe you need the education for it, or maybe you just need a business partner or a sponsor, or you just need to talk to the right people to get the right zoning permits or the right person the right real estate agent to help you get that storefront, or the right person to help you build your website and start your YouTube channel, or any number of things, or the right mentor so that you can move up in a promotion or move to a different position. Maybe you need a friend to come and say, hey, there's a job open over here. Excuse me. And I was thinking about you when they said it was open. Right? But change has to come in order for you to achieve the greatness that you're destined for. And when this change comes, if you allow it to become a part of your very fiber of your very being, and you allow it to drop down into your heart chakra, you will begin to vibrate at that frequency, and air signs speak at that frequency. We've talked about this before. We've been talking about this all month. And if you haven't heard this before, I do encourage you to go back and watch my Saturn direct video, watch my Libra season video, and I believe the new moon in Libra video. I've been talking about this all month. What we sow as seeds in thought and in word, and then in deed, but in thought and in word especially, here during Libra season, will become fixed in Aquarius season in just a few short months. Why is that so important? Because if you can change how you think about yourself and your situation, and you can change how you think about your life, and become led spiritually in your thought process and not third dimensionally by your mind, then when Aquarius season, higher thought, spiritual thought, thought from on high comes around, your mind is so fixated on what is actual truth that there's no doubt that it comes to pass. That no matter what happens around you temporarily, because do not think that 2020 is going to be just fantastic on a global scale. 2020 is shaping up to be energetically the start of a very trying season. It is going to be the start of this separation between those who are spiritually in tune and know how to be spirit-led, and those that are just being led around by their nose in the third dimension. And you are going to have to be very discerning and know the truth beyond a shadow of a doubt in order so you will be able to flourish 2020 and beyond. And I'm not saying this to scare you. We're going to talk about 2020 first on Patreon, and then we'll come here. I'm not saying it to scare you. I'm saying it to prepare you. I don't believe in dealing in fear. I don't. But I also don't believe in not saying something and then not giving you the way to overcome it. You have to know what's going to happen, or at least have a good idea. At least have an idea about the possibilities before it happens so you can prepare. And I feel very strongly. Hey, TJ. TJ, did you get my voicemail, dear? You have got to be prepared for it. And we'll go into this in a deeper level in the coming months. But 2020 is a very trying, separating the wheat from the chaff, if you will, year. It's the start. It's the start of the reset, right? I believe it's a true entering, or the beginning of the true entering in this age of Aquarius. We're going to have Pluto moving into Aquarius. We're going to have Saturn moving into Aquarius. There's a lot of changes coming along. So what we do here on a personal level, what we do here now, the changes we make now, we need to get those new ways of viewing ourselves and being discerning of everybody around us so far deep in us that they become a natural modus operandi, so that no matter what happens around us, we know that we're okay. We know that we know how to speak a thing and it happens. We know how to manifest. We know how to attract. We know how to operate on a spirit-led level. Okay? I know some of y'all are thinking this girl is going way off, but please listen to what I'm telling you. Okay? Now, what are some of the other major aspects I wanted to discuss? I think what's going to keep us from being really uber dreamy is this Neptune lightly squaring Jupiter expansion. So not to say it's going to keep us from being dreamy, but it's basically going to say, okay, can we expand just a little bit? Just a little bit more. It's not a hard square. Sorry, guys. It's not a hard square, but it is a square, nonetheless. And also one I don't talk about a lot, because I don't talk about Chiron a lot, but I need to bring this up. Chiron is in opposition to Mars. This is Mars over here, guys. Chiron is in opposition to Mars. While Chiron is in the home sign of Mars. To me, that's an even further signification that it is very important for us to do our internal work. Look at where we've been wounded. Don't be afraid to look at it. Don't be scared. Look at where we have some unhealed areas in our lives that are keeping us from being great. That are keeping us from being self-assured of ourselves, self-partnered, high self-esteem, knowing that we have the ability to do everything that we've been called to do. What are those areas keeping us from greatness? What are we afraid of? Thank you. What are we afraid of if we're great? Mars has just entered into Libra. Mars doesn't like Libra too much, because Libra is all about balance. Mars is all about action. So let's use that energy to move ourselves into action in becoming balanced. Use that energy to be willing to say, gosh darn it, I didn't want to look at this part of myself, but dang it, I got to look there. And dang it, I got to heal it. I got to do it. I got to bring it into balance. As much as it might bother my god darn ego, as much as it might be uncomfortable, as much as it is outside of my comfort zone and box, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. So that is the summation that we have for the full moon. Now, if you guys go to heartofinspiration.net, you'll see that over here. I do have the ability to do the full moon readings for you. Full moon forecast, horoscope, I don't know what you want to call it, for $19.95, okay? I will take your natal chart and I will tell you how the transits are affecting you personally, how the planets are transiting your natal, how this full moon is transiting your natal. And we'll get into it deep and personalize it just for you. You can go to heartofinspiration.net to get that. $19.95. Later on tonight, patreon.com, I'm going to have a couple of astrological tiers so that you can continue to get the full and the new moon for each season. Get those forecasts, okay? Anybody that's with me on Patreon, you can be with me for as little as $5 a month. Tomorrow, we are going to, and I think I might add an additional tier, but tomorrow we're going to have a discussion. We're going to be doing something there, and I'll do something on YouTube, kind of like Spiritual Sunday, okay, where we kind of touch base on just a general spiritual level. But I'll start talking about some things, what I'm seeing for 2020, where I think we're going, and how we can best prepare ourselves. But we're going to go live tomorrow too and have just kind of a spirits-filled Sunday, spiritual talk Sunday tomorrow. I haven't done that with y'all in a while. So go to patreon.com and check that out. We're really kicking that into high gear. So I do appreciate, guys, I didn't want to stay on too long. As you can hear, thank you for paying attention throughout this whole gosh darn child, all this darn coughing. I'm so sorry. I appreciate you guys as always. Before I leave, I want to just make sure, does anyone have any questions on the live that I can answer before I get you on out here? And if you do, like I say, want a personalized lunar full moon reading, you can go to heartofinspiration.net, and they're $19.95. Also, natal interpretations are $19.95, and then I do have some intuitive services up there as well on heartofinspiration.net. And while we're waiting to see if anyone does have, Janelle, you did say your Mercury is in Aries, so this is going to be very interesting for you. I don't know where exactly in Aries off the top of my head it is. However, with the moon transiting your Mercury in Aries, this is going to be in some emotional. Watch your communication, how you speak to people for the next few days, next week or so, because it's going to be pretty fiery. You're going to want to pop off. I guarantee you. Good night, Mr. Rio. We hope to see you tomorrow. It's going to be fiery. I can guarantee you that, Miss Janelle. It's so just watch, okay? Because your communication may come off a little harsh. So really take a moment and breathe and think before you just take a moment before you speak. But yeah, take a moment before you speak. I say a week, probably not that long. I would probably, for you, again, this depends. That's why I don't know. I don't know where it is, what degree it is in what your Mercury is in Aries. I don't know if I've run your chart. I may have. I'm sorry if I don't remember. But depending upon where it could be. Oh, God. Okay, we got a question. Thank you, TJ. Will we be shifting more into our truth throughout the Aries full moon energy? I will put it to you like this. We're shifting into our truth more and more throughout the remainder of 2019. The area of truth that we will be shifting more into, should we choose to, is the area of business relationships. I do feel like because of the rest of the planetary placements and aspects and transits, that this is much more, again, focused on our career, our money, our purpose, that kind of thing, rather than romantic relationships. But I can say globally, across all of your life, it's going to become very apparent, even if you don't want it to be, who should be in your life and who shouldn't. it probably would become very apparent that some people you thought maybe shouldn't have been in your life, maybe you're like, ooh, dang it, maybe I should have them there. So it's going to be easier for you to evaluate someone's purpose with you. But I really feel very strongly, and because I'm kind of peeping the transits coming into 2020 and just getting some downloads about 2020 like I have been all year, that this is really very much about securing our financial stability and making sure we have people around us that are going to feed that financial stability. As we planted our seeds in Pisces cycle, we have learned what we needed to understand and get where we're going. Spiritually, so the last full moon in Pisces was a lot about releasing, right, certain things and manifesting certain things and seeing things on a deeper spiritual level and hopefully connecting to our spirit guides, our angels, and having a greater connection to Supreme Spirit, to God as on a whole. This month is really about, are we still listening? Are we still in tune? Are we still in touch? And on a very personal level now, if we've given God permission to speak into our lives and given our spiritual guides and our ancestors and our angels permission to show us who people are on a real level and communicate that with us. Because remember, we've got Mercury in Scorpio showing us all kinds of stuff and telling us all kinds of info. Mercury is spilling mad tea right now. Mad tea, and it ain't done. So this month is really focused on us. And are we going to continue to have certain people around us? Are we going to allow certain people to speak into our lives that maybe we thought were like, I'm tired of that person. I ain't trying to hear nothing they got to say, right? So are we going to let people do that? Are we going to get mentors and our new mentors coming in? Or there's like this shift, right? But it's really about personal and our personal relationships with others and how that can create a solid foundation to build upon. Oh, there's definitely changes in friendships. Most definitely changes in friendships. And but that is an ever changing situation. There are very few roots. There are very few people that are our roots and serve as the trunks in our life. And like I said earlier, some of the people that are old pillars or new pillars may get moved out. And that unfortunately is just the way that it is. It's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, it just is. Oh, sorry. Oh crap, let me do this. No, the phone vibrating wasn't a sign, baby. It was just I got it sitting here and y'all normally can't hear it. I have it sitting here because I don't have both my computers set up today as we're transitioning, getting ready for the studio. So yeah, I mean it changes. It always changes, and we just have to be comfortable with it. I'm so used to it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It just, I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but I'm just so used to the transition now. It makes me sad, and it's not going to be that easy to release some of these people in our lives. It just won't. It just won't. Those are very good questions. Do we have any other questions before I let y'all go? Very, very good questions. So yeah, Janelle, honey, again, did I run your chart, boo-boo? Have I run your chart? I can look at this real quick. and see if I've run your chart before. I keep everybody's details. No, I don't have yours. So Janelle, if you know your time, well, you should, because you know where your Mercury is. If you get a lunar aspect reading from me, a full moon reading, and you send me your time, place, and date of birth, I can tell you exactly when the moon's going to transit your Mercury. You'll want to know that. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap her up. Hey, we got done in under an hour. I love that. So I'm going to work on some of the other readings and things I need to work on. I really took today to just kind of chill. You know, trying to nurse this cold. So if you have any questions, you know, email me heartofinspiration18@gmail.com or admin@heartofinspiration.net. Don't forget to go check things out at heartofinspiration.net or at patreon.com/heartofinspiration. Thanks, guys, for putting up with my cough. All right, guys. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you so much. Namaste. Bye-bye.